Here's a Beyond the Pitch podcast quick hit from the WVSA Digital Network.
So I think the number one thing that I see is it's usually a technique consideration. A lot of people treat squats like they're deadlifts almost. Like people will push their hips back rather than their knees forward. And a squat movement, you can think about it just like the classic ideas. Think about what we refer to as a third world squat, quote unquote. And that's just someone who can squat very, very deep, unrestricted. Their hips are underneath their back and their butt is at about mid shin or lower than that. And it's usually a very comfortable position. In fact, that's how we went to the bathroom for a very long time before toilets were invented, frankly. So a squat is more of a butt down rather than butt back activity. And the only real way we can do that is by pushing the knees forward over the toes, which a big myth back in the day, and I think still perpetuates today, is this idea that the knees should never go forward over the toes. Well, if you want to run on a soccer field, your knees have to go over your toes. So I don't think that I get on the surface level why it would make sense for the knees not to go over the toes. But when you do that, you have to push your hips back because something has to give in this situation. So I think when you push your hips back like that, you are going to end up doing more of a hinge or a deadlift activity more than a squat pattern. And then that's going to probably kick out some of the muscles on the front side of your body that would be responsible for that squat pattern. So you will not be training them as much. And you might be overly recruiting muscles like your low back, because if you're going to place a bar on your back and then push your hips back, your low back is caught in the middle. So I think it's something that can be done a little bit more efficiently with lots of athletes and strength and conditioning programs I see. But there's nothing wrong with necessarily pushing your hips back in a squat if done properly. But usually I see this as a means of compensation rather than a true squat being achieved. So a good way to make sure that you're going to get that type of pattern, just do front squats. Do any type of squat that's going to load the front side of the body, because when you do that, you're going to reflexively have to fire your abdominals rather than your low back. And you're going to be so much less likely to overly arch your low back and kick on your low back muscles in an attempt to stabilize your entire spine. So I would say knees forward first is always great, so long as you can keep your weight in your heels and you can keep your whole foot flat and your heel doesn't rise up. So if you can keep your whole foot flat and the knees go forward, I think that's great. If you can't do that, elevate your heels on a ramp or maybe some 10-pound plates, and that should do the trick.